Thank you so much for checking out this free video. If you don't mind, please click like and subscribe. When you look at the lineup for this show, we were kind of talking about it the other day. They had the most bizarre lineup. It was the Kenny Omega match with Blake Christian. Yeah. Like what? And then Brody King and Kyle Fletcher, Hobbs and Mark Davis, and this one, the Briscoe and Takeshita match. And I just remember reading all of those, and they were all just so weird and so random. And, it was like a good show. Like, the show was good, but it was weird because this company doesn't normally book a lot of star versus star matches. Right. That's one of the problems that people have with AEW, is they don't do it. And so here was a show where they did it up and down the show to the point where it was unusual. And it was even more unusual because, like, whenever they do, there's always, like, a reason for it. There's a reason going in or there's a reason coming out. Like, they'll do the match and, there'll be an attack or a setup for an angle or whatever. Here it was like they did the matches and then they were over. Yes. And it was like, okay, we had completely at random Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe. Takeshita beat him.
Now what?
And we went to the next segment.
Yep.
There was no angle. There was no, hey, this will be Takeshita's opponent at the pay-per-view in a week and a half. It was just like, here's a match, and that's it. And, like, they were good matches. The show, they were great matches. But it was highly unusual. So then, we get the main event, which is, it's got Toni Storm and Megan Bayne, who are facing off for the women's title at the pay-per-view. And there was some other stuff on the show, but I think we can just move on.
There was a Death Riders promo where the belts over T-shirts look is quite terrible, but not quite as bad as Wheeler Yuta's bowl cut. And Alexi interviews the Hurt Syndicate. They agree to talk about MJF later.
So we have this Thunder Tits against Penelope and Megan Bayne match. And I'm watching this match, and what I'm thinking is, there is only one finish here. And that is that Megan Bayne has to pin Toni Storm. That's the only finish in this match. But they're not going to do it. I was certain that Megan Bayne was going to pin Thunder Rosa because they don't like having the challenger beat the champion in these tag matches. It almost never happens. So I'm watching the match, and son of a bitch, Megan Bayne pinned Toni Storm clean in the middle. Then I do Observer Radio with Dave, and he's like, this was ballsy, he says. I wouldn't have done it. I was like, what? And he's explaining that, when you got a star the size of Toni Storm, you got to be careful. You don't want to beat him too much. And my first thought was, they ain't going to beat Toni too much. They don't beat anybody too much who's a star. That's one of the problems, is they never get beaten because they're always facing nobodies all the time. So, like, finally, we get a show with, like, star versus star, and we get Megan beating the champion in a tag match, and now everyone's all weirded out about everything. God damn, we can't beat Toni. It's like, listen, why is Toni over? It's not because of the booking. She's over because she got herself over with this character.
Yes.
It's not who she beat. It's not who she did jobs to. It's not that she won too many matches or lost too many, but she fucking vanished for 4 months and then came back and pretended she was a rookie, who, by the way, didn't do all that well. None of this killed Toni Storm. And losing to Megan Bayne in a tag match clean ain't gonna hurt Toni Storm. And if anything, we need more stuff like this, not less. So, it was a bizarre show from top to bottom, but it was a step, I thought, in the right direction. Although I do think if you're going to do a match like Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe, well, I need to know what's the point. And if there is no point, there needs to be a point when the match is over because there's an angle shot. What was the point of Kenny Omega and Blake Christian? I have no idea what the point was. What was the point of, any of these big matches that they did here? I mean, Brody King and Kyle Fletcher, what was the point? I mean, Kyle got a win over Brody King, but for what? What's the point? Where's he going?
When a company is booked well, when a match finishes, you always, in your mind, think you know at least what is up next for the winner and or loser.
Yeah.
Sometimes who loses is the bigger story. But.
Literally, the point was to do a post-match angle to set up Hobbs versus Mark Davis, which went 5 minutes and Hobbs just beat him.
Yes.
So why is Brody and Kyle a setup for Hobbs and Mark Davis? So anyway, this was a step in the right direction, but, we need to connect everything a little bit better.
As far as the actual match itself goes, it was basically a tornado tag match. Just come in, double team for 30, 40 seconds, whatever you want. No one cares. And there's a point where Toni asks who is legal in Excalibur. It's not an exact quote, but I think he just said, fuck if I know. But the key is, in the kerfuffle, with all four women in there, first, Megan drops Thunder with an F5, whatever wacky name they've got. Fate's Falling or Fate's... I don't know, who cares. It's an F5. And she lays Thunder out with this. Now Thunder Rose is out of the match. They go to double team Toni. Megan throws a kick. Toni dodges. Megan boots Penelope. Now Penelope's out of the match. And now it's Megan and Toni 1-on-1. Megan no-sells her. Toni looks scared. Megan hits her move and pins her. So in the end, Megan didn't just pin Toni. Megan beat up all three women in this match.
Yes, which
they
is
are
what you
trying.
Got to do.
They're trying so hard.
Yes.
I don't know if it's working, but they are trying. So there you go. That was Dynamite.
Bird here said, did the overrun die again? Yes, it did. It did. They did that commercial at 9:59. They did a commercial at the end of the show and then came back for an overrun. It died again. It happens every week. It's a broken record. If you love this show, you should consider signing up at WrestlingObserver.com. WrestlingObserver.com has every show that we have ever done. Over 15,000 podcasts in the archives, dating back to 2005. Searchable by show, searchable by year. Perhaps the first show you ever watched was 2008 WrestleMania? Well, you can head into the archives and you can find the podcast we did, all built around the 2008 WrestleMania. Every major show, whether it be WWE, AEW, we covered it all. 15,000 archived shows at WrestlingObserver.com. Also, when you subscribe, you get full access to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a new Observer every Friday. And on top of that, we have thousands and thousands of archived issues of the Observer dating back to 1991. So again, WrestleMania 2008. Go to the archives, search WrestleMania 2008, read all of the issues surrounding that show. Of course, Wrestling Observer newsletter, 40,000 words of news and information on pro wrestling and mixed martial arts every single week. New issue comes out every Friday. New back issue comes out every Monday. You also get the discussion board. One of the best discussion boards on the internet. It's members only. If you're going to troll, well, you got to pay to troll, and there aren't too many of those. And if you cause too much trouble, you're out of there. So if you want a great place to discuss professional wrestling, it is the board, also available as a subscriber at WrestlingObserver.com. The whole package, all of the new shows, all of the archived shows, all of the new issues of The Observer, all of the archived editions of the newsletter, all of the past episodes of Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer Live, The Bryan and Vinny Show, Figure 4 Daily, Filthy 4 Daily, The Board, all of it, just $14.99 per month. The full shebang. And you can save a lot of money getting an annual subscription. A full year, you basically get 2 months free. So check it out, WrestlingObserver.com, everything you'll ever need as a fan of professional wrestling. Check it out today, F4WOnline.com.